Bienvenue pour ce nouveau moment des Journées européennes et digitales de la mobilité qui propose une photographie internationale de la gestion de flotte en Allemagne, en Italie et en Espagne. Ce webinaire sera un peu différent des autres car il se déroulera en anglais, mais sans plus tarder, nous vous présentons les speakers. Hello everyone, we are very pleased to welcome Axel Schaefer. Hi.
Hello.
You're a spokesman for Fleet and Mobility Management Fédération Europe and European Federation of Fleet and Mobility Management. Hello, Axel.
Okay, hello.
We are very happy to welcome Robert Satiri. Thank you for joining us. You're Director of Corporate Services at Colasem SPA and also Councillor and President of the Italian Association of Company Vehicle Purchaser and Managers. And finally, we are very pleased to welcome Victor Noguer, President of the Spanish Association of Fleet and Corporate Mobility Managers and Professor for SEAD Business School. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Let's talk about your insight about fleet management. We will talk about market trends and their characteristics in each country. So our first concern is about national market trends. For you, according to you, what is the annual fleet market share in global registration? In each of your country, is it 30%, 40%, 50%? Robert?
Yeah, sorry, I haven't understood, sorry. Okay.
Okay. According to you, what's the share, the rate concerning the fleet market share in global registration?
Okay, in global, in Italy, in global registration, the fleet market, it's about.
In other words, can you explain me what are the trends about fleet management in your market, in the national market?
Yeah, it's in 25%, and the share grow up in during these years.
Similar in Spain, the market share in the corporate arena and also including the professionals, personal professionals profiles is about the same percentage.
Yeah, this is the same in Germany. Let me correct your information. I'm not only FMFE speaker, I'm the general manager of the German Fleet Management Association as well. The EUFMA you call is yesterday. So, and we have the same here in Germany. You have the same relations like Spain, I think.
Okay. Do you have, to continue, do you have a share of personal cars and light trucks in the overall market and fleet market?
Yeah,
Sorry,
we
the
have
sound is, I couldn't hear it.
Okay, so I rephrase it. Do you have a share of personal cars and light trucks in the overall market and fleet market?
Yes, we have a share of personal cars and CV cars, and it's about LCV cars. It's about 20% of the global share of fleet cars.
Okay, is it the same trend in Spain or
Very,
okay,
very
in
similar,
Germany?
very similar. Absolutely.
Okay. Then what is the average length on VP contracts in France? The average contract is around 36 months for 80K kilometers, and it's for light trucks. The contract is a little bit extended, around 48 months for 110K or 120K kilometers. Is it the same trend in your country?
I think in Italy it's a little bit more long because we are the average month it's about 42, 43, and the kilometers it's about 150,000 kilometers. The total during of contact.
The average duration for passenger cars in Germany with the leasing contracts is 36 months normally, and most of them are around about 100 to 120,000 kilometers. So that's for the car vehicles. For the light commercial vehicles, it looks a little bit different. You have some longer duration time for the contracts.
Okay.
In Spain is in terms of length is similar to Italy, 42, 44 months on average. It depends always in the economic situation. Now, I think that this is going to change slightly in the forthcoming 1 year and 2 years, as it happened in 2009, 2010, 2011. And about the kilometers is between 100 and 120,000. And I think that this is going to change a little bit too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to add just a little things that for the LCV vehicle, the during of a contract and it's a little bit long, about 60 months, but the average kilometer it's a little bit low because it's about 120,000 kilometers.
Okay, right. Concerning the registration of hybrid cars, rechargeable hybrid, electric cars, gas vehicles, what can you tell us about your national trend?
Well, the national trend.
Yeah. Go ahead, please, Axel.
Yeah, the national trend in Germany is that the market now begins to accept more and more electrical vehicles. Actually, in the last year, we have only 2.4% of all cars are electrical cars, so it's nothing. Yeah? And now the government starts a lot of programs to support it and to build the infrastructure to get the power in the cars everywhere, and that's important. It's not possible to use electric cars at the moment for the fleets because they have not enough points to charge the cars. So that's a problem, and especially the acceptance for electrical cars depends a little bit on the question what cars are available. So at the moment, small cars are available. That's okay for the city maybe, but if you have salespersons and technical employees to give support to customers, they need bigger cars, and such cars are not available. So it's not possible to think about using electrical cars for this. So it's a really small part at the moment, but we think with the market, the market will start to accept more and more cars, and the car builders produce more cars, more new cars in this year. Hopefully, if the COVID crisis don't stop it.
Okay, right.
I must say that the situation in Spain is also very, very similar, or even the introduction is going ahead. But of course, if we go, I think not only in Spain or around Europe, 5 years ago we expected, or the market was expecting more growth. At the end, the growth is slowing. Is very surprising because every year it's increasing a lot, but still in terms of total amount is a small percentage. And as Axel said, there is a problem on infrastructure, and there are also huge projects, big utility companies that they are planning to install thousands of charge stations, and I think that this will help altogether with the helps that the government is offering, and that also that the companies are each time more willing to include this type of electric vehicles into their fleet. I have to say as well that the manufacturers, the car manufacturers, are doing a very important effort, as we can see that the offer of cars, the alternatives that today we have, not only with electric, also with hybrid electric vehicles, it's much significant today than a couple of years ago. So I think that we are living a stage that is going to happen, no? And we are on the way. I have to say something else, please. From the association, I think the same in Germany and Italy. We are working on that. We are promoting that the fleets are each time more sustainable, and I think this is part of our activity.
Okay. Thank you, Victor. Robert, do you face the same issue in your country?
Yeah. In according to what said from Axel and Noguer and Victor, the situation in Italy is the same, but the situation is a new situation after the COVID emergency. And so the tendency is to increase the hybrid quota of electric cars in fleet, in company fleet. But now we must lease what we find on the market, and it's very difficult also for us. And I want to say another things. It's very different, the fleet composition for companies who working in the cities areas like Rome, Milan, or Turin, or other areas. I think it's the same situation. For example, in France, for the companies who working in Paris areas.
Paris or Lyon.
Yeah, and the other part of a country, we have a little bit of problem with the torch station, for example, on the highway areas of and so we can find this situation just for a few years. We have an expectative to increase the electricity fleet, but really now we lease, we rent a car that effectively are diesel or a petrol car.
Okay, right. Thank you, Robert. So Axel, you already anticipate my next question. How your national governments encourage this kind of infrastructure of this kind of vehicles? What kind of aids or policy are in place for clean vehicles in your respective countries?
Well, you know, maybe you know that the Germans like to have it every time a little bit complicated. So there are different parts where the government works. First of all, people who use a company car has to pay a special tax for get the company car. The company pays the car, and the employee has to pay a tax for this, that he don't has to pay the car. So, and they bring the tax down from 1% to only 0 to a quarter, only 0.25%, only a small tax for the cars. That's the first point. The effect was that a lot of employees come and want to drive hybrid cars. And our statement of the German Association is clear in that point. Hybrid cars are most of the time nonsense. They are not economical. If you drive hybrid cars in the longer distance, they need a lot of fuel. And if you don't drive them well in the city, you need the fuel too. The cars are too heavy to drive. So, but the government supports hybrid cars as well as battery electric vehicles, only battery electric vehicles. Then the next thing now, they spent 700 million euro to build the infrastructure for charging the cars. That's the next goal. The car industry has to sign that they want to build the cars, and they do a lot of employment. They do a lot of new things and develop new cars. But the problem is, the question is not, do you drive diesel or not? The question is, how can we change step by step? And the government now sees that the steps to change the traffic, to change the kind of cars, is not switch off and on. They have to go slowly and step by step. And the newer diesel cars, the newest one, we don't talk about the problems Volkswagen concern produced. That was really terrible and stupid and was not good and has to be judged by the lawyer. That's okay, but the regular diesel cars are really good ones. Especially, I think the French diesel cars, the Peugeot, are wonderful cars. They have wonderful emissions, and the newer ones. So there should be not a problem to drive the cars. And the second thing is, now they start to develop plans for the heavy vehicles and the transport vehicles. It's not possible to drive the heavier vehicles for the transport things with batteries. That's not possible, and they have to develop now there a lot of things. And so they do a lot of different things. It's really bad that the Minister for Traffic don't say, okay, we need one standard for the charging, for the plugs. We have 10 different plugs in every part of Germany. You have the energy producers, but they don't want to talk with each other. So if I buy my charging card here in Mannheim, where I am, and drive to Bavaria, it's not possible to use it. The energy producer says, "Oh no, that's the wrong card. You need a contract with us." So that's a little bit stupid. And now they fix the problems and bring it together. So the acceptance will be more and more built, and they know that company cars are really important for that, because if the companies start with investing in electrical cars, all the people could see that, and then the regular car buyer, the private one, says, "Oh, look, it's an electrical car. I can drive it too." So that's the effect which they are hope for.
Okay, thank you, Axel. Victor, what's your opinion about this subject?
Well, I think that in Spain there are a lot of incentives from the government, and I would divide them in two categories. The first one is a direct incentive with direct economic helps. Yesterday, it was approved a new help for changing your old petrol car to a new sustainable car or electric car with, I think it's about up to 6,000 euros. This is a new. Also, is connected to the new measures that the government is taking into account to reactivate the industry after this strong crisis that we are facing for the lockdown. Of course, the dealer shops and the fleets and also the private has been locked down, so no cars were sold. So they are trying to incentivize, and while incentivizing, they are prioritizing the electric vehicles. And this is also accompanied with other helps, like, for example, or benefits. We are not paying tolls, or at least a reduction on the tolls, on the parking, the public parking in the slots in the streets, with the taxes, as the same in Germany. But at the same time, this is complemented with a kind of punishment to the old petrol cars, that they are having each time more restrictions to access city centers, zero emissions zones.
Like in Paris.
I forgot one thing. Sorry, the incentive in German is the same. We have now they put the incentive higher. We have still now we have 5,000 or 6,000 euro, and now they have 9,000 euro. So
okay. Your opinion, Robert, about public
at the
policy?
beginning, there was the demonization of diesel cars, and now in everything is studying the way to encourage the rent of low emission car. But in Italy, there isn't a really economic sustain to this. Now, after the COVID emergency, the government is bringing to think about something for encourage the purchases or rental of low emission car. For the employers, there is a low taxation for cars that have low emission, and so the tax is a little bit proportional for the emission of cars, and but in Italy, it's a little bit difficult because we think to encourage, to incentive the low emission cars with for example, with the recovery fund, and now it's difficult because we haven't recovery fund. We have an idea of recovery fund, but not the money in the wallet. And so we wait this, and we have trust. We trust that in a few years we can develop a political oriented to low emission cars.
Okay, so due to COVID-19, the priorities has changed, obviously.
Yeah.
Last question about global trends. What are the main trends concerning the evaluation of residual values of cars in your country?
Okay, the residual value of the cars is very related to the kind of engine of the cars. Really, diesel cars are very difficult in Italy, and rental companies have more value to hybrid vehicle, and they have a bad expectative of value, future value for the cars, diesel cars.
Okay. Victor, Axel, do you observe the same trend in your country?
At the moment, Victor, please.
No, after you, please.
At the moment, we talk last 2 weeks with resellers and reseller organizations and with the car industry, and with our members, our company members as well. And they don't see now at the moment actually that the prices for the used cars are going down. But the leasing companies, they have a look for that, and they told us, well, it's possible that the prices go down and the leasing fees will increase a little bit. But at the moment, it makes no difference. The used car market was down before COVID, and it's down at the moment, so it's difficult as well. But I couldn't say that there is a general trend that's the values are changing really strong at the moment.
Okay, right. Victor?
Yeah. Well, we have to say that if we are speaking about this subject today, our message maybe is very different about the one we could have 4 months ago. No, It's residual values. Really, the COVID is going to have an effect, and the question mark is if this effect is going to be in the short term, for example, for quotations that are taking place these weeks, compared to what is going to be quoted in 4 or 5 months' time. No? But the impact has been strong. Even I know companies that or fleets that they have not received by the suppliers quotations for some weeks ago, because they could not put they could not have information about the residual values updated because of the situation going on. No? Of course, about the engines, the trend is very similar. Diesel has an impact. All this campaign against diesel and all this, it had an impact even before the crisis, before the situation. And it's a very changing scenario, and it's something that we have to encourage our members in our countries to be updated, to have the information on hand to analyze the different alternatives on a very short, each time in a more short period, more compared to what happened some time ago.
If I can add a little information, in Italy, the formula found by the rental companies is they extend the duration with the discounts for companies and to postpone the problem, the end of rent and then the problem. So.
Okay. Going back to this point, I would like to add that we have done. I have the results here in the screen, and of a very recent survey that we have done to our members, trying to measure the impact of the COVID situation in all aspects regarding, or many aspects regarding the fleet management and mobility, also about mobility management, no? including staff without company car, of course. And it's exactly the same that Robert mentioned. Now the trend is going to be not in majority, but a certain number of companies, they are thinking, or they are starting to do some actions to postpone the new renewals, and trying to make longer the existing contracts. This is kind of a priority for more than 30% of our fleet managers right now.
Okay.
I think it's significant.
Axel, something else to say?
Well, the COVID-19 affected all countries, and we note the medium and long-term effects everywhere, I think. The thing is, in Germany, the fleet cars in particular guaranteed the automotive industry a constant increase in vehicle sales. And this is now not longer apparent to the existing. The sales stagnate now too. And the next problem we see is while restart the industry and produce cars, it should take a longer time to produce cars in the same way like before. They have a lot of problems to get the parts for the cars. Every company which develop and build parts for the cars is down, and it's not only a local thing. We are European connected in the industry as well. So I think the problems in the next time will be that the cars are not available as the company needs, and that should be a problem. And now they start as well to use the cars a little bit longer. They say, okay, let's use the car 6 months or 12 months longer to see what happens then. But that's a problem, and I think that is a problem we have for a longer time, the next 1 or 2 years maybe. And the thing is, now at the moment, I have the information. Let me have a look for it. The kilometers the cars drive are going down. I talked with one of our bigger members, that we have normally we have a bill for the fuel nearly for 700,000 euro a month, but now we have 150,000 euro a month only for fuel. So that's really interesting. They think about, is it need in future to drive a lot like before, or could we use the chance to drive less? And if they drive less and they have not the same mobility by car, well, that is the next problem for the car industry, I think.
Axel, I have the answer of our members to this question from the survey, and I can tell it to you. They believe on 54% that mobility will be exactly the same after a certain period of time from now on, when everything turns to normality. But this means that somehow 46% they believe that this opportunity, as you say, is going to change. Also about the telework, all the telematic functions and tools that we are using right now. For example, this one, telemeetings for video conferences, is going to help to avoid a significant amount in mobility. I think it's exactly what you're telling.
Yeah, it's the same here. So we have a survey as well, and they say, well, I don't need to go to fairs, I don't need to go to bigger events. It's possible to have it online. And well, for that point, we have to jump the future immediately, and we do everything digital now. We don't have events planned, and no events and nothing planned. And the fairs, we have big events like A.I.G.A. I have it in France for the fleet managers. They tell us, well, yeah, it's nice, but I don't like to go there this year, maybe next year, but I don't know. It's okay, we can do it another way. So that should happen, and I think it's happened in the complete within every business. And really, they don't have to drive so much.
Okay, right. However, the economic crisis is coming, like winter is coming. Do you think that the actual crisis can present some opportunity for the actor of mobility?
Good question. From the information we have gathered, our fleet managers, they identify a couple of opportunities from this crisis. So always trying to get at least something positive. And well, they are thinking that this is a good moment to start including new solutions for mobility. New solutions, for example, car sharing, helping staff to use new mobility solutions, co-organizing solutions between different people of your company. Also, another trend that they identified is that they are trying to get less rigorous contracts or static contracts, trying to make the contracts more flexible, even trying to find solutions of flexible or short-term rental solutions, what we call short-term leasing or flexible leasing solutions. No? Yeah, they used to identify at least that this is going to be helpful to start a new kind of mobility or in their companies. I think it's interesting.
Okay, and in Italy or Germany, is there some opportunities due to COVID-19?
Yes, Axel, you can speak.
Please. Robert, please.
Yes, but also in Italy, we must study a new solution for work and for mobility, and we think this also with our association, and in effect we are oriented to study the new opportunity or the new opportunity of mobility. But in Italy, the people sensibility is also to the sharing way of transportation. We have a particular sensibility to now to take a bus, take a train, take a metro, and there is a little bit of fear in N+. And in this moment, we make low kilometer with our cars, but not like who can think. And so in this moment, sharing mobility it's a bad solution. To propose a shared mobility, it's a bad solution for our sensibility. But I think that in a few months we must to think everybody. We must to think a new solution of sharing mobility.
Okay.
Well, there are a lot of opportunities, and at the moment we have, for those who need mobility, a comeback of the car. So those people which have to drive, they have to use the car. They don't drive by train, and they don't get a flight. To take a flight in Germany from Frankfurt to Berlin is stupid all the time. So, but the people do it normally, and the short flights are not the best thing for the environment. But if you see behind that, we have some companies start really interesting services for mobility. They have they develop mobility accounts for employees, and the mobility account is a budget, and the budget says, so how do you like to how should your mobility be? You can have a car, or you have a bicycle, or you have a special card for the trains, or you can mix it up. And in one case, I see the project, they do it like in early years of starting industry in the world and in Germany. The company think about building houses and give the people flats, apartments to live, so that it's possible to get to work in a shorter time. Some people in I think it's the same in Paris. Yeah, if you have to go to work, it takes hours and hours sometimes, and so that's not acceptable. And they start projects to say, okay, we think about mobility in a completely new way. We give you an apartment to stay, and we give you electrical bicycle maybe or something, and a ticket for the train. And that's really attractive for the employers. And I think the opportunity is that we work on these things in the next time are better than ever. In the Federation, in the European Federation, which is built by France as well. A.I.G.A is part of the Federation. Spain, Italy, Switzerland, Austria, UK. UK have Brex in the Federation, not Brexit, and Germany. We talk about how is it possible to measure the development to more sustainability? And we develop actually now a new certificate you can use. So every country and every company which works over the borders can use a European certificate for sustainable mobility management in future on European standard, and we have the chance to support the companies on the way to change things in mobility in the future.
Okay, right. Thank you, Axel. I'm so sorry. Time is running out. Clock is ticking. It was such a pleasure to have you online for this web conference. I have so many questions to ask you, but the time is running out one more time. Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you so much, Victor. Thank you so much, Axel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And see you soon and keep safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Bye-bye. 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 Thank you.